I think one of the cool things, looking at the various insights and the different takeaways that we see from the big game and how that plays out to the brands, and really around looking at how social's value exchange has just been flipped. And attention for attention is not it anymore. Brands really have to earn meaning by being culturally relevant and emotionally resonant. And so you can see the ones who are applying that to their ads and their campaigns that are trying to create content for human touch. Is it real or is it AI? And
Right.
then you can see that that trend is really showing up in the big game. Hello, y'all. Welcome back to Bite Size. This is episode 7, and welcome to Bite Universe, where we dive into the data-driven universe world of media, technology, and culture. I'm Brika Phillips-Bell, one of the 3 co-founders of B3 Media Solutions.
And I'm Sarah Boos, Senior Digital Analytics Manager here at B3 Media Solutions.
And I'm Taylor Smith. I am the Social Media Manager at B3 Media Solutions and a social catalyst.
And together we represent 3 generations, Gen X, Gen Y, and Gen Z, bringing diverse perspectives to our analysis of digital trends and insights.
And in each episode, we'll break down the latest in data, culture, tech, media, and sound bites that are shaping our digital landscape.
Once a month, we will bring you all the bites. So let's dive into our 7th episode of Bite Size.
Yeah, we made it, you guys.
Oh my
Lucky
goodness,
number
we're 3 away
7.
from 10.
I know. We're
That's
almost
crazy.
there.
We're
So,
building up.
as you guys know, we're coming up on the big game date. And the big game is not just about football, but it's really more this year a mirror that's actually reflecting our cultural differences and how media has evolved. So, this year, with the game literally days away, the buzz is so electric, but it's so polarizing. So, let's unpack the culture and metrics from Quid's Brand Pulse, which is one of our tool partners, and look at the cumulative data. And from my POV, this event, the big game, really exemplifies how media moments become battlegrounds for not only identity, values, alignment, and it really does amplify broader 2026 trends, like the shift from broad reach to more intimate and meaningful communities. So, taking a look at Quid, just from, I think you pulled this from, what was the date you pulled this from?
Yes, so I pulled this from the 26th, which was the final championship game, and then this is up till today.
So that gives us about 4.3 million mentions, which is insane already. We haven't even gotten to the game. And sentiment is at a low 14%. We've got over 82 million engagements and literally 2 billion views. So people are already watching, viewing, doing a lot of things and engaging with what people are seeing and saying on the net. So what I want to do is pull up this brand pulse, and this is from Quid, and it literally looks at conversations as they're happening in real time. So over the last hour, we've seen nearly 20,000 conversations coming in, and you can see net sentiment is low, that 6%. But look how much the conversation changes. I mean, it literally goes from like Sunday, Max and Ruby is there, Mike is there, but then you do see people that are saying boycott this halftime this show. And the fact that people are like, how I'm walking into the living room this Sunday, Bad Bunny is on there. Like, there's just so much conversation playing out on this monitor. What do you guys think?
You know, it's really crazy because I took a look at this yesterday in preparation for today, right? And this looks nothing like it did 30 minutes ago, looks nothing like it did yesterday, looks nothing like it did a couple days ago. So I think that's really interesting. Like,
and it won't.
Yeah, and it literally won't. Like, you know, in the next hour, it's gonna look completely different. Max and Ruby were not in the chat yesterday. They definitely just entered the chat today. I think that was from their post in support of Bad Bunny, but Bad Bunny was absolutely the number one topic yesterday. And then we also saw the Kid Rock conversation, because that was a huge conversation yesterday. So Kid Rock was in there. Trump was a little bit higher because of that Kid Rock conversation. So I just think that that's really interesting, is that like it doesn't look the same even 30 minutes to 30 minutes. And I think that that tells us why there are 4.3 million mentions, is because there is a lot being discussed in terms of this game.
Well, what's also really cool is that we have like these different briefs that capture the conversation, and through the miracle of AI, the science of AI, it allows us to kind of encapsulate all of the various themes. And so inside this, this is a really cool demonstration. I think, Sarah, you've shown a little bit about like how these conversation clusters kind of show up, but just leading up to the actual like winners, you can see how you see people that are talking about the Seahawks versus the coaching changes. You also have the key plays that they're going to be using, and then the Patriots versus the Seahawks. And just this whole other conversation down here that's like so separate around ICE and social justice and all of these conversations. And then even down here, the festival party guide. So like just different ways that these conversations are showing up. And it really is a smorgasbord for brands to understand how they can get into the conversation at the intersection of sports and food and culture, which are all driving the conversation this year. But another thing I wanted to share with you guys is just kind of like looking at the share of voice by attributes. Now, share of voice by attributes are like the key components that people are having conversations. So you can see that for the most part, when it comes to Budweiser, people are talking about not only the commercial innovation and the creative strategy around this brand, but also the halftime show. When we get to Smirnoff, it's more about social justice and community impact and the fan experience and watch parties. So each, you can see how the different brands that are participating in the game, actually how they are being discussed by these specific attributes.
I wonder why DoorDash isn't on there. Didn't you?
You know what? That's true, because like I see Grubhub, but you know what? I don't think DoorDash entered the chat until after the date, because this is through January 30th, and I think DoorDash, if we run this again, I definitely think that DoorDash would be up there, because I have to say I'm very impressed.
Everybody saw that commercial.
I'm just saying the pettiness was real.
Oh my goodness, that was incredible.
The last thing I thought was really cool, and this will be the conclusion of my quick bite. I really like to see the conversation, just how it is broken down and how people are talking about it. And Twitter, as always, leads the conversation. Like, you can't get away. It's just easy to send off a quick tweet. And so a lot of what we're seeing in this brand pulse is of course coming from Twitter, which is like, what we normally kind of expect. But also news, and TikTok is really, really up there. I mean,
wow, that kind of shocks me.
So is Reddit, even more so than Instagram.
Yeah. People are having conversations.
Exactly. They're having all the conversations, and then loving to be able to kind of see the popular posts where we see, Drake and Anne, like over the years, like they've grown up and they're together. And then just some of the other really, really cool photos that are making the rounds and really generating a lot of conversation around the big game. So before we get into the big bite, I did want to tee it up for Taylor, who is going to be taking us into a game.
Okay, you guys, I have a game for us today. I'm actually really excited because you just want to see how we're gonna do. Sarah, you inspired me. I feel like we in the past have centered our games kind of around numbers, not too much, but like, I think like, how much do we know strategy? Like what? How much do we know it's gonna work? Okay, so this is my game. So the game is called Place Your Picks. Okay. So with the help of Adage had a lot of insight that I think was really helpful in kind of like crafting this episode. And so one of those things was a prediction of the top 5 food and beverage ads that we would be seeing in the game. So they ranked what they thought would be the first, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, right?
Okay.
Now, I'm not going to give it to y'all easy. I'm going to already tell you that DoorDash and 50 Cent was number one.
Okay. I
So
was
we
like,
can move that
if
out
it's
the way right now.
DoorDash.
They were number one. Absolutely. They thought that this would be one of the highest ranked ads, but there are 4 more that they ranked. So I am going to give you 6 ad strategies and creative concepts around food and beverages that will be played at the game, during the game. Okay. Only 2 of them were ranked within Ad Age's top 5.
Okay. Okay.
You are going to have to tell me, based on the strategy and creative, which 2 out of the 6 you think were ranked in this top 5. You don't have to tell me where it was ranked or anything, because that's how we get a little tricky.
Yeah,
But you just have to tell me which 2 you think were ranked within the top 5 out of the 6. Okay?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So the first ad, not the first ad that we will see, but the first one that I'm going to talk about right now is Svedka Vodka. And the ad is called Shake Your Bots Off. So the strategy is this buy of this ad marks the first big game ad for Sarazik, which is the parent company of brands like Buzzball, Svedka, and Fireball. Okay.
Okay.
The creative goes, the AI created ad includes Svedka's mascots, Fembot and Brobot, shaking and making a cocktail on the dance floor. Fembot mimics the moves of a real life dance contest winner.
Interesting.
Okay.
Very interesting. Very interesting. And we'll actually get into this a little bit later. But neither here nor there right now. That's the creative. Okay. Okay. We're good. Number 2.
Yes.
Dos Equis, the most interesting man in the world. Okay. So the strategy is that Dos Equis turns its big game ad into a stunt and lists the ad for sale at $8 million on a dedicated website. And it also is trying a fan contest offering beer for a year and other prizes. Okay. The creative is that the brand brings back the most interesting man in the world after nearly a decade, with Jonathan Goldsmith returning to the iconic role after 10 years.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Which, that
Plays. Yeah. Nope.
Hey, okay.
Okay.
The next one is Pringles, and the ad is called Pringaleo. So the strategy is that the snack brand returns to the big game for its 9th consecutive year. The creative is tired of dating boys, Sabrina Carpenter constructs Pringaleo, a man made of Pringles. The 2 have dinner and go for a drive before Pringaleo is tackled by fans and eaten on the red carpet. Okay. Actually, this ad came out early, so I've seen the ad. It's actually very funny. And as a Sabrina Carpenter fan,
I can, yeah.
You know what I mean? This is just right up her alley.
Totally get it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. 3 more. So Hellman's ad is called Sweet Sandwich Time. And so this will be the brand's 6th consecutive year at the game. The creative goes as such. Andy Samberg plays Neil Diamond, leading a diner full of people in a song about Hellman's mayo to the tune of Sweet Caroline. And this ad includes cameos from Elle Fanning and Keith Lee.
Okay.
Then we have Budweiser, and their ad is called The American Icons. So their strategy, normally they have 2 ads. They actually will only have 1 this game, and it will be their 3rd straight appearance at the game. So they did take a break for a while, but then this is the 3rd consecutive year. So the creative is that celebrating its 150th anniversary in 2026, Budweiser delivers a majestic showcase of its American heritage, starring a Clydesdale horse and a baby bald eagle.
Oh, yes, I remember seeing that.
All right, last one, y'all. Last one. Dunkin' Donuts. No one can see this is what the ad is called. Dunkin' Donuts is returning for the 4th consecutive year, once again with Ben Affleck's agency, Artist Equity. And the creative is that, so the creative here describes the teaser, but the teaser really does give information towards what the ad is going to be about. So in a teaser released on February 2nd, Ben Affleck has just shown Matt LeBlanc, Jennifer Aniston, and Jason Alexander a video and asked for their reactions, which is implied that the video will be the ad that is played, right? He explains that cringe is now hot, and Aniston stresses that no one can see what Affleck is showing them. Now, I don't know what the ad is actually going to be. When I hear, I can't see him, I think of John Cena. So I think John Cena is going to be in the ad, but we'll come back
It's like, put a pin in that.
We'll put a pin in that and we'll get on a media bite and discuss it. But that's my prediction. But who knows? I don't know. We haven't seen the ad yet. Okay.
Okay, I have my votes.
Okay. Sarah, go for it.
Because I'm just going, look, I always go with just like what stuck with me and my initial, option. So that's my approach. So I'm gonna go with the Svedka one and then the Pringles.
Svedka and Pringles. Okay. Do you have so other than initial instinct, do you have a why? I know I gave a lot of information, but like just kind of.
Yeah, kind of. So the Svedka one, I mean, it's AI driven, right? That's a hot topic, trend, whatever you want to call it, in social media and in our world today. Yes. So I just think, I don't know. I mean, it sounds like obviously they're open about it, right? It's not like the Coca-Cola ad where, it was kind of like, is it not, whatever. But so to that point, I feel they're kind of using it to their advantage. So not necessarily, I don't look at it necessarily in this particular instance as a negative thing. I look at it as like, AI is here, just like we've said, it's here to stay. So like, let's try to use it to the best of our ability, right? Hoping they still used real people and, and didn't sell themselves short on that end. But that's for another day.
Right. That's actually for the next conversation.
Yeah.
That we're going to have.
And so that is my reason for that. The Pringles one, few kind of like top of line things. Sabrina Carpenter, she's very, trendy right now as well. Very popular. She's in a lot of like really big ads that I've seen. And quite honestly, I don't see a ton of ads because I'm on streaming platforms. But so that's kind of my main reason. And then also I think it's very like in theme with the big game, like Pringles, they tackle him, they eat him all up. It kind of just goes with her brand and also the brand of the show. So those are my reasons.
Gotcha.
Okay. So we're only picking 2, right?
Yes, you are only choosing which 2
you think are on the top 5.
We're on the top 5 that added.
So I think that Budweiser, and the reason why I think it's Budweiser is because they have moved back to an America First strategy. And it definitely, to me, like everybody loves the Clydesdale and this is America. We love Eagles. So to me, I feel like it's nostalgic and it's patriotic. So it hits right in kind of like the sweet spot. And then I do have to agree with Sarah on the Pringles one. I was kind of debating. I was going back and forth with Dunkin' versus Pringles because I was just like one is really targeted to that Gen Z millennial type of thing. And I feel like it's something that they would like because of the humor and yep, absolutely right down the alley. I felt like Dunkin' would probably be more in my lane because it's definitely a nostalgic thing. Yeah. And so I'm going to choose Pringles over Dunkin'.
Okay.
Just because I feel like that one's going to do more in terms of like the younger generation as far as like selecting it and talking about it than Dunkin'.
Fair. Yeah.
Hey, these were good. Everything was good. Okay, so we can drum roll for our winner. I'll tell you who it is. I know it is.
I don't sound effects. Just make my own. It's fine.
Barika, you are the winner.
Oh,
you won.
Nice.
Barika beat on her strategy, y'all. So yes, let me tell you, Budweiser, not both. Oh. No one got both. Budweiser is in the top. Budweiser was in the top ranked. Budweiser was actually, I did our first media bite on the Super Bowl. Budweiser was number 1, and so I was not shocked to see it there again. It also, I don't know if you guys noticed, was in the report that we just looked at.
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah, that was.
Valid.
So,
valid. Facts.
Budweiser was number 1. You are absolutely correct. The American icons, people love the nostalgia of the Clydesdale. That's something that they did for a long time to the point of their strategy. And this will be the 3rd consecutive year after coming back to doing ads, right? And all of them have had that Clydesdale. So that was in the top. I believe it was number 3. I will check. The other top one, which was number 2, was actually Dos Equis.
It's like, but who's gonna go?
Really?
It's so nostalgic. It's the nostalgia of, because I love, like, people wanted to be the guy,
the most interesting man
in the world. And so like, I knew I should have said that. I knew it.
It actually is Dos Equis. Obviously, the anticipation of bringing back the most interesting man in the world put them at number 2 at the Fly, but then also the interactive component that it is going to have, the opportunity to win free beer for a year.
Yeah.
So those two things combined did put them at the number 2 spot. We don't know who is actually going to be where, so we are going to come back to this conversation. Adweek will do their ad meter, and we will absolutely talk about who is going to be where. But this is the educated predictions of the people from Ad Age. So yes, those were the top 2.
Nice.
But
Okay.
absolutely, and you know what's interesting too? Last year, so I'm interested to see how it will be this year. Last year, a lot of those Gen Z type commercials were at the bottom.
Yeah.
I know that
because they weren't watching the game.
They're not watching the game. They are
Yeah.
not watching the game. Yes, those nostalgic, triotic, nostalgia's still coming out on top, y'all. Like, I mean, we just saw Max and Ruby in the top conversation. That's a point of nostalgia.
Crazy.
There was actually another ad on Ad Age that said that the ads are kind of pulling away from diversity and just leaning into nostalgia. People are tired and they want to. We are yearning for old times.
Yeah, I mean,
and brands are capitalizing on that.
I was like, I was reading, we'll talk about it, but I was reading that Ogilvy report, like trend report, and basically the thing that I got is people are just like really, really tired.
Yes.
Like they're tired of all this social media. But honestly, like if you think about MySpace launched in like 2003. So social media would literally be 23 years old.
My goodness.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I know.
I mean, they definitely aren't like get off my lawn, but they are very much been there, seen that, don't have the energy to care anymore.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. People are yearning for what we used to have. So, and that's coming through in brands and what's ranking well. So that was my game.
Yay. That was
a good
game.
game. That was really fun.
That was a fun game.
Yeah.
Yay. Okay. Well, let's kick it off with these ads then, because
Sarah, let's get the whole full bite.
So let's get into the full bite this episode. We are, of course, talking about the big game coming up this Sunday. And if there's one thing that we need to talk about in association with the big game, it's, of course, ads, because that is what we look forward to. I mean, other than halftime show, of course, I myself look forward to it because I'm in marketing and it only makes sense. But the main thing that we feel, or I feel, and you guys can echo it, is that AI is going to be a huge conversation driver this time around because it's getting pushed in our faces, whether we like it or not. We've talked about it in our previous episodes. So I already can, aside from the Svedka commercial that Taylor introduced us to, can't wait to see it. But there's probably going to be a slew of other brands who are going to dig deep and use AI to their advantage, which I'm curious to see how that's going to all play out and if we can actually tell what's going to be AI or not at this point.
Yeah,
that's good.
So
that's true.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll open it up and kind of like see what you guys think. What are your expectations? And do you feel like the ads are going to be bigger and better this year? What are we thinking?
I mean, obviously, we can definitely see that they are more so focusing on humor and nostalgia, and there's a lot less of that diversity and inclusion that we have seen in previous shows. So I feel like people are like, a lot of the brands are really opting for like safe humor and throwbacks because they're not trying to get into backlash. They don't want to have like people like boycotting, which we can already see. But this is just them like, trying to mitigate risk and polarization. So we do see like, people like trying to use that humor as a bridge rather than to divide people. So I definitely can tell that from the ads that I've seen so far.
So yeah, I definitely agree. There are 3 ads, I believe, that are confirmed to have AI within them. That is Svedka with the Fembot and the Brobot, which is apparently something they're bringing back. Yeah, but they've done it before. Yes.
Yeah.
Was it?
So it makes sense.
AI driven? Do you know?
It was AI driven the first time. Yes, it was. And then Alaska Airlines also will have AI, which is really interesting. And I really wonder how people are going to take to that. I'm going to talk about kind of what the executives said. But, when we're talking about things that are rooted in reality, like travel, I think it's interesting to then use AI. Like, that's an interesting choice. And then we also had avocados from Mexico. they have a ad and it will be AI based. Their ad is a little bit different. Their ad is, it's like based on this like future telling pic, kind of like the conch from SpongeBob. I don't know if y'all know what I'm talking about, but yeah. And
add a little image right here.
Yes. But it will give like dubbed personal responses if you go to the actual Instagram and website and use the function. That's AI driven.
Okay. So I'm going to go try that after this.
Right.
But I thought what I'm really interested in seeing is I want to see Anthropic versus OpenAI. Like I know that I know that they're not going to make Claude, like it's not going to be an AI because it is an AI, but I'm like, you know, here for the pettiness. Like I'm like, yo, if Anthropic and DoorDash could team up and
maximize their petty slay,
maximize the beef.
I'd watch that.
Like I definitely think OpenAI should send Anthropic some DoorDash and be like, "Here's the beef."
Literally,
that is hilarious.
That would make me die.
Like even just that, like speaks to this polarizing time that we're in, right? And like how it's really just like taking stage with the big game. To your point, you know, 50 and Diddy, like that's a polarization within its own that's being capitalized upon. But then also like to have AI ads and then also have an ad that is so actively anti-AI, right? From an AI company, like people are taking stances. Like I think that is just the theme. Like we've been saying that for a lot of bite-sized episodes. We say it in a couple Lead Hers episodes. Like people are really taking stances. And I think it's a weird medium though, because like you said, I think a lot of people are using humor because they don't want to like rock the boat. Right? But then like the people who are rocking the boat are literally rocking it. Like, you know,
like, no, we're going to get into the pit. I mean, I'm sorry. I have to go back to the ad with DoorDash because the combs had me. Like the combs had me, yo. I was like, yeah,
it's creative though. Like,
right. It was wonderful.
At the end of the day, it was creative. Like, it just was like, I can't say anything other than, wow, you guys did that.
They ate that.
But I think
I digress.
Yeah. Right. Literally, I digress. It was so funny, Brico, when you sent it to me, you said Puffy. And I obviously know him as Diddy. And so I was like, and that just speaks to the generations we be talking about on Bite Size. Anyway.
Right.
But yeah, I think like, so the polarization of even just that, like in one big game ad, and then also the polarization within the ads themselves when it comes to AI, and then the polarization within who is performing at the game. I think that we're going to see a lot of conversation about that. Like we're going to see where consumers stand as well, right? Because they're not afraid to a voice on Twitter what side they're on.
I'm gonna I definitely want to do an after recount, like a little analysis of just like some of the key moments of like people's responses to the AI ads, but also to Anthropic's ad because of that. But then also like looking at the whole Bad Bunny Kid Rock like feud. Like what were people saying in that clash? Because you do have the halftime show that is the American halftime show, and then you have the big game halftime show.
Absolutely.
So like you have all of these different factions warring for attention.
Yeah.
And I am very interested, and Sarah, maybe you have some insights just kind of like on the halftime show, but like what are people talking about? Like what's going on with that whole Kid Rock headlining Turning Point USA's All-American halftime show when we have an All-American halftime show with the big game?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think it's to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think because I was looking at it a little bit, like I said, on the brand pulse, and there was simply to the point of people taking a stance, right? Like I didn't see a single middle ground tweet that was like, right? Like you either see like
one or the other, yeah.
Yeah, you either see like this is ridiculous, I'm sticking with Bad Bunny, or you see the people who are defending the Turning Point American halftime show, right? And so I think people are really divided, and I don't think that like people are divided right now.
You're right. No, you're right. It puts it on.
Yeah,
front
the
page.
big game puts it on a stage. And
Yeah.
then it has media outlets also contributing to those conversations and taking their own stances, which in turn make people take more stances about what they're going to be affiliated with, to the point of the report that you showed us, Brika, right? Like those share of voice attributes, they're only going to get even, more polarized, right?
Yeah.
Because of what people put out. Unless they take the approach of the safe and nostalgic humor that everybody can just really appreciate.
Yeah.
Thing to see.
Yeah. We definitely. Okay. So if you had to pick your top ad that you think you are absolutely sure that would be in the top 5, like let's get rid of Ad Age.
Okay.
What do you think would be in the top 5?
Gonna be in the top 5.
Yeah. That you've seen so far. Because some of them will they'll come out on the actual game day, but we won't know that.
Right. 100% Budweiser. It's not even a personal thing. Budweiser and that nostalgic, the Clydesdale, the All-American, like they make the top every time for that. So I would, if I had to, place a bet of some money, I would bet on Budweiser.
Safe bet.
It's a safe bet. I might make a return on my investment. So I definitely would say Budweiser, but I think I personally just like the Pringle ad. I think it's going to make the top. People love Sabrina Carpenter. She just did the Muppet Show. Is down, her lane is that like silly, like, fun.
Cutesy, fun.
Yeah, cutesy, fun.
I would say Pringles too.
You say Pringles too?
Yeah, I think so.
I think that Dos Equis is a sleeper, and I think that like obviously Budweiser, because I believe I would also bet on Budweiser if I'm safely with my money. But if I had a sleeper, I'm gonna go with Dos Equis.
That's a good one. And DoorDash. I think DoorDash will absolutely be up there.
With DoorDash.
They will.
I am now following them. Like I am now stalking DoorDash because I'm like here for more of it, and they are providing new ads on an hourly basis. Like
interesting. I just quickly looked at the Dos, because I don't know anything about the ad at all, Taylor. I haven't seen it. Nothing. The Dos Equis one. And this is straight from their brand marketing vice president. Quote, "You don't always have to play by the established rules to capture attention and conversation. If the idea is interesting enough, the fans will do the work for you."
That's good.
Wow.
That's
true.
That's a good takeaway. That is a great takeaway. The executives, I'm not going to list them all here. I actually think I'm going to put out a separate piece of content in relation to this. But the executives of the AI ads all spoke, all the 3 that I talked about. And they all had some very, very, very interesting points. So I think I also think we're just seeing a rise in like executives like
chiming in
their media. Speaking out about their media. I think like we're seeing a rise in them kind of explaining to the audience and or not explaining, just like he's we'll do the work for you, to their audience, like kind of their strategy. And I don't know if it's helping, how it's helping, but I feel like we are kind of seeing a rise in that. So it's interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Well, I mean, I think overall, like just to summarize everything, I think one of the cool things, and this will be a talking head that I will like work on, is just looking at the various insights and the different takeaways that we see from the big game and how that plays out to the brand. And really around looking at how social's value exchange has just been flipped, and attention for attention is not it anymore. Brands really have to earn meaning by being culturally relevant and emotionally resonant. And so you can see the ones who are applying that to their ads and their campaigns that are trying to create content for human touch. Is it real or is it AI? Right. And then you can see that trend is really showing up in in the big game. And so it'll be interesting to look for that and then talk about that later after we kind of see what everybody has put on the table.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Agreed.
Nope. Very, very true.
This is like our Met Gala, y'all.
I know. This
Like
is
this
Right.
is like
Brand
our
Bowl.
like this
This
is
is Brand
everything
Bowl.
we could ever talk
Brand
about.
Bowl. I love that.
This is
our
Brand Bowl.
The big game is our
Maybe
big
that's what you need to call this episode.
This episode is called the Brand,
Brand
Bowl.
Bowl.
Like
Semicolon.
who is going to be the last brand standing? I'm here for
My
it.
goodness, and we'll see on that ad week meter. I'm excited. I'm excited. I like
I'm
to see who's
excited.
last. Like who bombed it. That's my
Yes.
favorite thing.
Yeah, too. Yeah.
the top winners and the losers.
Bottom.
Right, literally the losers.
Because you were literally out of 8 million.
Right. And then you talk about all that money you paid to be at the bottom
Right.
of the ad week meter.
But hey, it still increases
Hey.
their share of voice. Might just be negative.
PR, like they do say, I don't know if it's true or not. I can't say that it is, but they say all PR is good PR, and I'm like,
No, they do say that.
They
That is
do
what
say that. Forgot about that one.
goodness. All right, you guys. We could talk about this forever, unfortunately,
Yes.
so we won't. But Sarah, do you want to wrap us up? What did we talk about today?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much this conversation was driven by the big game
yes.
and all about the top performing ads or what we predict might be the top performing ads this weekend versus the bottom, and what is really driving conversation this year and for the foreseeable future. AI, all of the political discussions, the divide between the American game versus the Turning Point game. This is all what's happening in the world of media, on social, on news, blogs, channels, and more. So we kind of just had a fun little conversation about it, put on our little analytical helmets on, and played a game of what we thought would be the top 5 in ad ages conversation. So I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we enjoy having these conversations with you guys, sharing our insights, and please leave comments and more. And I'll pass it to you, Taylor.
Yes, please, please, please let us know what you want to hear about from us. There are so many things in the social world, and we try to cover all of it, but we would definitely want to hear from you. So leave a comment and let us know what you want us to talk about next.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for joining us for the 7th episode. We had so much fun. We'll see you here next month for another bite-sized deep dive. But in the meantime, please connect with us on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on X. And lastly, always visit our website, www.b3mediasolutions.com. And if you have future ideas for episodes, let us know. Bye.
Everyone, bye.